Welcome back to the fifth round, brought to you by Stephen Moustaris, as always, and presented by the Intrigue Podcast Network. Recent news just dropped at the UFC, and it's not that surprising, especially if you keep up with it at the 145 pound right now division. Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega were set to fight just past pay-per-view with Miocic and Ngannou, but Alexander Volkanovski had to pull out with COVID and whatnot. But it left the question of when they're gonna rebook this. It seemed like they were gonna rebook it quick, and then turns out Alexander Volkanovski was actually sick from it, like Dana just said. And now they just announced today on April 2nd, it might even been or yesterday, I guess, April 2nd, that Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega were going to be the new coaches for this summer's Ultimate Fighter. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big Ultimate Fighter fan, and that sounds like a pretty good matchup. But it's almost no surprise, but it's like this is the first time as a fan in MMA, other than when John Jones got in trouble and like kicked out, or not really kicked out, but he had a suspension and whatnot, that I felt like the two people fighting for the belt weren't the champions of that division. And this is where it brings in Max Holloway, the Blessed Express, baby. Choo choo. Like for real, like not even to be funny, but I can't help. I think everybody right now, if you're an actual fan of MMA or the UFC in general, like Max Holloway right now might probably be the best 145-pound fighter on the entire planet. And yeah, I can talk to you till I'm blue in my face, like that I thought he beat Alexander Volkanovski twice. Thought the first fight was really close, but it's like I'm a believer that you got to take that. You got to finish the champion if you want to be the champion, or just put on a fucking clinic on that man where I definitely beat the shit out of him. But for it to be that close, like, I don't know. I know it could be cheesy, but like I think the champion should always keep it. Kind of like the GSP situations and the John Jones we've seen in close fights. But I'm not terribly mad at Brian Ortega and Alexander Volkanovski's matchup at all. I really like it, but it's just tough right now because there's not a single person out there that I want to see fight for that belt other than Max Holloway. Like, if you're gonna tell me 145-pound belt's about to be on the line in the UFC, and Max Holloway is not in that conversation, then I don't even want to watch it, if I'm being honest. And like I talked about yesterday, like I really, really, really think it's a fun fight. But I don't know. Like now we're sitting back. Well, now what do we do with Max Holloway? He just put on a absolute fucking clinic against Calvin Kattar, and it just makes me I don't want to see him fight anyone right now. The only way I even want to see him fight Brian Ortega ever again is if Brian Ortega beats Alexander Volkanovski. And of course, I'd like to see Volkanovski versus Holloway until one of them actually wins. Like, I definitely thought the second fight, Holloway definitely won. But I guess it goes back to the point where the champion should be able to win if it's close. Like, because the later rounds were close. But the first three, I would say, were definitely Max Holloway. And I know it's just my opinion. But at the end of the day, I guess it doesn't fucking matter because he doesn't have a championship. But now this is where I've kind of am starting to want to see it now. Triple C Henry Cejudo was talking about it in an interview not too long ago. I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago, about how he's hoping to fight Max Holloway and he just wants legacy fights. And I'm hearing Max Holloway say the same exact thing. And there's nobody in the 145-pound division right now that I even want to see Max fight. But I definitely wouldn't mind seeing a Cejudo versus Max Holloway fight. I wouldn't mind seeing Max Holloway move up and fight any of those guys at 155. Like there's plenty of matchups out there for him, but now it seems like they might have to like go with that route because I don't know. I just doubt Max Holloway would hang out for a whole year without, especially after his great performance to start off the year, Calvin Kattar, and now it's just I don't know. It's like where do? We got a roadblock, and the Blessed Express is coming full steam ahead. There's no stopping it. So now it just leaves me wondering, UFC, what do we got for Max Holloway, baby? Like. Let's go. That's our champion. That's the people's champ. We want to see him fight somebody big. So give this man a good fight. I don't want to see him fighting anybody. I don't want to see him fighting Zabit, Yair Rodriguez, even though he's suspended. I don't want to see him fighting anybody at 145 unless it's for the belt. And that's it. Everything else, give this man some big fights. Let him go do whatever. Like Max Holloway's a fucking star, baby. And let's go. Blessed Express, baby.